Do you have an iPhone 6s Plus and you've been asking yourself the question, should I download iOS 11 public beta? Well, Apple just released public beta 2 a couple days ago, which brings some bug fixes to a lot of features in the public beta, the original. Well, we're going to check it out here for the 6s Plus coming up right now. Let's go. So what is up, guys? Nick here, helping you to master your technology. This is the iPhone 6s Plus and it received an update to iOS 11 public beta 2. Now this beta does come in at around 390 megabytes on the download if you're already running iOS 11. Now if you are running the 10.3.2, this is going to be over a gig to download. If you want to know how to download a public beta, I will drop that link down below in the description area of this video. You can see we do have 99.87 gigabytes available before we do this download, and we are on the first public beta here, 15A5304I here. Now this public beta 2 does bring a lot of similar features to the iOS Developer Edition beta 3, so this is about the same as that. Now before we go ahead and download, just want to take a look at beta 1 to show you that it's decently smooth here on beta 1, but there actually was a couple of app switcher bugs here in beta 1, but I'm going to show you that in just a minute. First of all, I do want to do a Geekbench here test on the iPhone 6s Plus beta 1 to see how it compares in the new edition. So we're going to go ahead, open up Geekbench, we're going to hit CPU right here, and we're going to go ahead and run this benchmark. And when we get to public beta 2, we're going to go ahead and compare the scores here between these two. So the first score is a single core score of 2533 here and a multi-core score of 4405. So pretty respectable scores here for a beta indeed, but again, we're gonna have to go ahead and see if it does improve in the future version. But I do want to point out that there is an app switcher bug here in public beta the first, so we're gonna have to see if this is rectified once we do it. Go ahead and download. You can see I'm trying to swipe and nothing's happening here. So I mean, these things are expected. This is a beta, but we need to see this improve if we want to download this on our 6s Plus here. So I'm gonna go ahead and download it. This download's gonna take about 15 minutes or so, so put this thing off to the side, go grab a cup of coffee, do whatever you do, and come back in 15 minutes. It should say updated to iOS 11. They mean whatever version you just downloaded. In this case, iOS 11 public beta 2. So now that we're in, let's go to general, go to about, and see if we saved any space. Actually, no, we lost about 13 megabytes. Not a big deal. We didn't lose that much at all. So 99.76. It did go down a little bit, but I'd rather go down in trade-off for better performance, but we're gonna have to see if that is the case here. So going into Geekbench again, let's see if the performance improved on the Geekbench scores. Now these are just scores. They're not really gonna change anything in the real world, but you can see both single core and multi-core scores are improved here for public beta 2. So that's nice to see there. At least we're seeing improvements in the Geekbench scores. But what about the real world here? So scrolling through the general user interface or the springboard, you can see it's pretty responsive here on the 6s Plus due to the fact that this is rocking an A9 CPU with 2 gigs of RAM. It's got a powerful processor. But going through the control center, let's see if we can find any bugs or anything crash while I'm going through here. You can see the airplane mode does work coming out of there. Let's go into do not disturb, and I'm just gonna tap a few things here just to see if we can get something to crash here live on camera, and we don't see anything crashing so far. So the notification tray was a little bit delayed there when I did pull it down, but that might have been user error here, but it looks pretty smooth overall, so I'm not too disappointed in the performance here with the beta 2 so far. Now let's go into a couple of applications as Apple has said to improve the springboard responsiveness here in public beta 2, and you can see it's still slightly delayed. I'm not really liking the performance I'm seeing here, as in 10.3.2 on the 6s Plus just flew through these apps like it was nobody's business. So I definitely think there's still work to be done here, and if you guys are thinking about updating in terms of application speed and you're on 10.3.2, you are going to decrease just a little bit here in this regard, even though this is still the second edition of the iOS 11 beta series. So going into multitasking, you can see this has been improved. We've seen the bug in the original version. It looks like that was improved, but there is a slight new animation to the control center. Very hard to see. Mostly you're going to see it in the new iPad version of iOS 11 beta 2. Also, in addition to that, we do have Safari content blockers are now working. So for those of you who like to have that working, it is now working. In addition, I found this in the file files settings, if we go into locations, they added the OS X server, so that's probably something more for developers to work around with, but that's there if you needed that. Ad blockers have also been added to iOS 11 across the board, and Apple has set to improve the springboard responsiveness like I mentioned earlier, and let's check that out here. So going into calendar, pretty quick. Going into calculator, pretty quick. Going into weather. Now this is their application, so you can see it is pretty responsive, but the third-party applications are the ones that are still going to be a little bit slow if you were thinking about using a lot of third-party applications, which I'm sure you are. So, you know, going into this public beta is going to be a little bit slower than coming from iOS 10.3.2, even though, like I say, this is the second version of the beta. So we're still a ways off before it's super smooth for the 6S Plus. You know, we got some work to do, but multitasking looks pretty solid here nonetheless for the iPhone 6S Plus. But one thing I want to test is that we all use is the camera. So let's see how that works. So the camera opens pretty quickly and we could snap pictures pretty quickly. So if we're going to be taking pictures, there's no bugs in the camera right now, that's going to be good to go. So photographers, rejoice if you're using the beta. Now battery life has been hit or miss here. It's been actually decreasing a little bit faster than I would like, so don't expect great battery life here with beta 2. But should you download it here for the 6S Plus? And the answer is the same as it was with public beta. It's still pretty choppy, still pretty buggy, still not replacing iOS 10.3.2 or 10.3.3 for me. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and hit the thumbs up for me. Nick here, be sure to be well, and peace.